I spent my whole 30s in prison. I got out March of 2016. I turned 40 July 2016. And I did 9.5 years. And so, that helped me to generate a lot of things that I needed to do in my life because I was running wild and lost out here. All I was thinking about was having fun, partying, quitting jobs, So that maturity level that I gained from being incarcerated, that was one of the biggest obstacles that I endured.
Hey everybody, I am back with another episode of So What Success Stories. And today I am talking to my JCM classmate, Montorius Herron, better known and really only known to me as Gigi. Gigi. Everybody knows him as Gigi. I'm like, I've never called him Montorius in my life, but that is his name. And Montorius, Gigi, is a psychiatric tech at Pathways of Jackson. And he has an incredible So What Success story. And I am super excited to be talking to him, to you today, Gigi. Over 20 years since I last talked. Over 20 years since I last talked to you. But I'm super excited to get into your story. But first, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, like you said, my name is Montorius Herron. Go back G or Gigi. 95 class of 95 graduate from JCM, Jackson Central Mary High School here in Jackson, Tennessee. Recently a 2021 graduate of Lane College with a degree in sociology. Newly married to Shekia Herron. We got married August of 2021. The father of five. I have four girls and one boy. My oldest is Kayla, and then Adara, Makya, and Karieyl, and then my son is Kymel. So that's pretty much about me.
Okay, so that is awesome, and it was so calmly stated, but all of those are huge. The degree, graduating from high school, graduating from college, even the marriage and the family, those are part of your journey and part of your story that I can't wait to get into. Okay, so Gigi, in this program, I have what I call the So What Success System. It is my belief that if you can overcome obstacles, eliminate excuses, and calculate the choices in your life, you can have so what success. And that success in spite of anything that happens in your life. And Gigi, you have done that. You have displayed so what success. So let's get into the story. First, talk a little bit about some of the obstacles that you've had to overcome.
Well, I mean, the biggest obstacle that I had to overcome was being incarcerated for 9.5 years. I really didn't see that. I wasn't one of those kids that, just got into major trouble growing up. I was really just a hyper child, but at the same time, as I got older, I realized that I wasn't focused, I wasn't mature, I wasn't financially responsible. It didn't really hit me until the incarceration, though. After I graduated high school, majority of my life, I hung with my family. We got a real close family. So, whatever one did, the other tried to do. If we weren't doing the same thing, we tried to at least stick close together. And at that time, they all had their plans and dreams for the future. I didn't. I just want to be closer to them. So, hey, they saying, well, we going to Barber College, in Nashville. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to TSU. But I really didn't. I just knew I wanted to go to college. I never did have anything that I really wanted to go to college for. It was just to stay close and to go to school and say, hey, I'm in school, So that incarceration it helped me to, bring that out. I got incarcerated at a latter age in my life. I was well close to 30 years old before I even got incarcerated.
I didn't
And
realize that.
yeah, I spent my whole 30s in prison. I got out March of 2016. I turned 40 July 2016. And I did 9.5 years. And so, that helped me to generate a lot of things that I needed to do in my life because I was running wild and lost out here. All I was thinking about was having fun, partying, quitting jobs, So that maturity level that I gained from being incarcerated, that was one of the biggest obstacles that I endured, So that helped a lot.
Oh, I think back to, so you were like, you class in 95, I was class in 97. And so I remember looking at you and seeing exactly what you're talking about, being close to your family. Y'all were cool. We looked up to y'all, as younger kids, we were looking up to y'all. Y'all were fun. But you don't know what people are dealing with in life and the choices that they're going to make and how it's going to affect their life. And so I didn't realize, and I graduated in 97, I came to Memphis and I was away. And so so that whole time period leading up to your 30s, I had no idea what was going on with you. And it's so interesting how you said you turned it into a positive. And that's what So What is all about anyway, that being incarcerated, not that you would have chosen that, but you
No.
good in it. Yeah, you found something good in it. And so so that was one obstacle that you talked about. But so the second part of the So What success system is eliminating excuses. So you went. And one thing that I see, because of course I follow you on social media and I'm learning more and more about your story, is you could have made all kinds of excuses, but you just said you came out, what'd you say, in 2015, 16?
16.
So it's only been 6 years and you got a degree. You got a college degree. There are people who haven't even gone to prison and haven't made that step. Say they want to do it, but they haven't made it. But you came out and you got to work and you made it happen. Talk about some of the excuses you had to eliminate to get to where you are as now a college graduate and a professional, changing the lives of so many people.
One of the biggest excuses that I had to eliminate was blaming others. I had to take responsibility. We all go through things in life where, we feel like this person has hurt us or this person has done us wrong. But at the same time, we got to take accountability for things we've done. Sometimes we bring those things on us when people do stuff to us. So you got to take accountability for it and stop making excuses. And so during my incarceration, one thing I had to sit down and do was look at myself and say, okay, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? I had to learn how to stop. I quit. I used to quit every job that I was on. I used to find any excuse to quit a job that I was on. And most of the time it was just because I wanted to go party or do something. If that job wasn't letting me off to go do something fun and stuff without me saying, okay, I need this job to take care of bills and such and whatever, I quit the job. I always found the excuse. So that incarceration, it not only helped me to sit down and just look at my life and say, okay, this is what I've been doing for the past 30 years. Now, this is what I got to change. I had to learn how to change my surroundings, and I had to learn how to sit back and say, okay, I'm good at this, but I'm getting used in this area, so I need to cut this out. I sat and I watched, my baby brother Rico. Rico's 16 years old and younger than I am. And Rico, during the time of my incarceration, Rico graduated college, and the year I got out from being incarcerated, he was getting his master's. I sat and watched my cousin Ket Gordon Holloman. He kept going to school. Gordon sat there and told me, back in, I think it was, I want to say 99. He said, man, I know that you really wanted us to be close and go to school together. He said, but I want to be a barber. He said, but because of that, I'm going to go to lane with you. Gorn started going to lane with me, but I wasn't focused. Gorn turned around and still ended up graduating lane, but I was incarcerated. So, I'm looking at the fact that now he came back to school with me and he still graduated before me. And I looked at my mom. My mom, she went back to school after all these years and went back, got her bachelor's. Around the time I was finna get ready to come out, she was getting her master's. So I'm looking at all these people, and I told myself, I said, the same thing these people doing, I can do it. I said, all I got to do is apply it and stop making excuses for it. And I was like, and I learned how to be responsible with money and everything in there because, in there, you have to you have to get the money that the state getting you, or you can call home constantly and worry your family. So that helped me learn how to budget and everything. So when I got out, that was the biggest turns that I had made for myself because I was so eager to, go ahead and say, hey, this is what I plan to do. This is what I plan to change. Now I'm going to do it. So once I eliminated making them excuses, because even right today, my wife will tell you, I call home, I think every day, mad about something on my job, but I know I can't quit because not only am I married, but I have responsibilities. And I can't quit. Like, it's no more going home to mama no more, and relying on mama. I'm 45 years old. So those excuses are out the door. You just got to suck it up. So even with the schooling, when I did go back to school, I was going to school from 8 in the morning and getting out of class at 2:30, going to the hospital working from 3 to 11:30, coming home doing homework to like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and waking up doing the same thing again. But I didn't make it no excuse about it. I didn't quit. So, hey, no.
Gigi, I think that is awesome. And I think back to when I was in school, when I was in college, and I had, I went straight out of college and I was, similar schedule to you, and I had a child. But I know it's so much harder to go back as an adult, to go after you haven't been in school for so long, right? To make that commitment. So I commend you tremendously for doing that. And then I think about, you just said a whole lot right there. The people that you were watching, the people that you were seeing that were progressing and moving forward. And I love your shout out to Kat, because I need to talk to him too. He gave my son his first haircut because he went to school and he had that barber license. So that was probably in 97. But that he inspired you, that you inspired him, and then you in turn inspired him, right? To go ahead and go forward. And how you watch them, and the importance for anybody who's watching this, the importance of, again, who you surround yourself with and who you are looking at and who you're modeling yourself after. And the other like major thing that you said, and it was the first thing you just said, was about accountability and stop and not blaming people, because that's the easiest thing for all of us to do, right? When life is hard and life is messed up and you make some bad choices, and you mentioned hurt. And I'm glad you mentioned hurt, because a lot of us will do really bad things in our life or make big mistakes out of hurt. And I think everybody understands hurt and pain and making poor decisions because of that hurt. But in the end, those decisions hurt you the most.
Right. It's a lot of times, you have to talk to people sometimes to get that breakthrough and that barrier, and a big part of what I told you about how that I started to sit down and evaluate myself and start to, to stop making excuses. My brother Tay graduated from Florida A&M with a degree in psychology. Me and Tay always talk, sometimes Tay talked to me like he the oldest. And I sat down one day in prison and I just poured my heart out to my brother. I told him, I said, I want to know why I had to go through this, why these things happen to me. I just need some guidance on what I need to do. My brother wrote me a 6-page letter. I never expected to be that long. I just thought he'd just, tell me. My brother wrote me a 6-page letter, and he said, "Look, this is what you've been dealing with. This is why." He said, "Now it's time for you to pull away from all that and be you." And once I read that letter, that's when I started saying, "Okay, this is what I got to do." And it just took off from there. So yeah, that was a major part, that letter he sent me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, kind of got emotional. I think that is awesome and that's beautiful. And that's the power of communication, right? And dealing with hurt and dealing with challenges. It is being open to communication, and I think that is amazing. But you also said that's when things change, and you were like, okay, I got to do something different. I know I got to do something different. And that takes me to the next part of the So What Success system, and that's calculating choices. So at that point, you said, I'm making some different choices. Talk about the choices that you've made throughout your journey to get to where you are.
Well, first of all, I had to learn how to keep a steady job. you know, I was, back then, which was what led to me even doing criminal activity, excuse me, to get locked up. I wasn't financially responsible. Any dime dollar I had, I was spending it fast, and I had to learn how to budget my money and take care of my responsibilities before anything. You don't constantly want to turn around with so many bills and debt hanging over your head. You want to get to the point where you can make sure that you're keeping employment and paying your bills, and also learn how to budget to save money. I'm so tight with money now. My wife be like, you just don't want to buy nothing. I be like, no. She'd be like, okay, if you want them shoes, go get it. And I'd be like, if I can't find them cheaper than that, I don't want them. And she'd be
I
like,
love it.
yeah, she'd be like, but she'll get whatever she wants, and I'm like, hey, you just don't understand. I was blowing money. I'm not trying to blow money now. So hey, if I can't get this cheaper than what it is, I don't need it. And she just look at me, she be laughing, but I think she understands what I'm doing. But like, I had to do all that, had to learn how to stop going so much. That's another thing that I had to change. I always used to want to go. I was in the club promoting, and I was in the throwing parties. So, it wasn't a weekend that I was not in the house. I stayed out. Whether I was at the clubs here in Jackson every weekend or in Memphis hanging out every weekend, I was always on the go. And I had to learn how to say, look, I don't even feel like going there. It's rare now that you get me out. That's another thing she told me that day. She said, people be inviting you to something, you just be turning them down. I said, no, it's not that I'm turning them down. I'm just used to not going now. And I had to learn how to cut away from hanging with certain people. It's not that I don't love them or we not cool or anything no more. It's just that my journey is a little different now. And I feel like that along my old journey, some of the things and some of the people that I was hanging with and doing, that was pulling me down. Not because they were doing, but because I allowed it to happen. But if I don't have to be around that or be around them, then I won't have to allow those things to happen. I won't have to allow them to, talk negative, and then I have to try to, prove them wrong. And that was a big thing that I did. A lot of times when I was trying to pull away from certain things that I was doing, people will still have their own outlook. And once they start having their outlook, then I'm trying to prove them wrong. Now you wrong. I'm not doing this. And by me trying to prove them wrong, then I'm getting off the path that I was on doing right because I want to prove them wrong. And now I lost focus on myself because I'm trying to focus on proving. So I had to cut all that out. I had to cut out a lot of stuff, So those were some things that I had to change. So it's it wasn't hard because I think once I got in my mind that being behind that fence wasn't what I wanted to do, I was willing to give up what was necessary. And once I prayed and I started getting in a deep, deep relationship with God, everything started coming full circle. And it was like, it was like this was going to be cut off, but I didn't care, because I knew what it had to take to get me to where I need to be. And the thing about it is the people or the things that I did cut off is not even being missed. And the people that I've, not so much cut off, but pulled back from, it's not, they not even to a point where they bring it up and be like, oh man, we don't do this no more. We don't do this. You don't mess with me no more. No, because they see that I'm not that same person. So it's like, man, keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. But at the same time, they not really noticing that because of what I'm doing comes from me have to pull away from what I was doing with them too. So it's all a plus in a win-win situation.
It's awesome, and you just talking, stating your truth and what the reality is. But what I know is that those words that you just said are going to save somebody's life.
Right.
A person that is in it right now and living the life that you were talking about and making those poor choices that can lead them to prison or worse. If they listen to this and hear what you're saying, they can prevent it from getting worse. A young person and I say this because I talk to young people all the time, and I'm a mom of a boy. And so
right.
I've seen and I know a lot. And I know how challenging it can be and how, it's a slippery slope once you start on a path and where it can take you. And so somebody else that's watching this, a young person that's watching this, or even not so young person that's watching this, can prevent from having to make some of those, be in some of those situations that you've been in. But you also
right.
show that no matter what, you can come out of it because of the choices that you make. And so, Gigi, you are so what man. You have demonstrated that if you can overcome obstacles, eliminate excuses, and calculate choices, you can have so what success. And I know that in the short time that we've talked, you've only been able to share a little bit of the wisdom that you've gained through the obstacles that you've had, because you've had many more. And I follow your story and I respect and appreciate you so much for sharing it.
Thank you.
How do you now define success for yourself? What's your personal definition of success?
I would say to just, continue to my success, I really don't think I have fully got my success yet because I got a lot more to go. I did overcome some obstacles where I came out of prison, went back to college, got my degree, uh, found the wife, and got married, learned how to grow up and mature and be, responsible. But I still feel like it's more to come. But you have to sit down and you have to, get a plan. You have to stick to that plan. You have to allow God to guide you and direct you to your plan. Because trying to do it on your own is not gonna help. It's gonna always backfire on you. That's how I failed so many times, want to steer off from the plan and that God had for me and try to do it on my own. And if you stick to those things, then that way it can lead you to being successful. And so like I have so much that I want to do. I want to keep on talking to the youth. I want to go back and get my master's. I know if I continue to do the things that I'm doing, then those things will come and play for me. So, defining my success will be probably a couple of more years from now. But as for now, to just say, that I've accomplished the things that I've had, I think that is very, something well much being said to be successful for me, because a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people say that, okay, I want to change and do this and do that, but they procrastinate. I didn't procrastinate. Once I found out that my loans at school was paid off and I was eligible to get my financial aid, and the first thing I did was apply for school. Once they accepted me, I was like, look, I'm going back. Once I found out how many credits, I didn't let anything bring me down and discourage me. When I went back to school, from the time I went to school in the 90s at Lane, and I was going for business at the time. When I went back in 2018, I came to find out I hadn't took not one class in my major. I had played around so much, my GPA was 1.1. I didn't let that discourage me. I sat down and I looked at my advisor and I said, you know what? How long is it gonna take me to get my degree? And she said, probably about 3 years. I said, I get it done. I said, no matter what, I'm gonna get it done. I said, I just gotta do what I gotta do. So I took that and I changed my major to sociology because I knew that's what I wanted to do then. That's when I really knew what I wanted to do. I went to some school and I needed to go. I brought my GPA where it needed to be, and I got my degree. So, it's nothing that, you can't do if you want to do it. And that's what makes you successful. If you want to do it, you're going to apply and do it, and, especially when you got a good family behind you, support, my mom was, I tell you one thing about her, she stood there from the downfall to the uprising, and she been there since birth. So and for my mom, even when my mom, 2 years of my incarceration, my mom was dealing was going through breast cancer, but she still made time to make sure that I was okay and that I was doing what I need to do. Even through my surgeries, when I had my surgeries and stuff, she took the time out of her whole spring break just to doctor me with my surgery. So when you got those type of people surrounding you, and you get a lot of people that got your back, it makes you want to say, hey, look, I need to push forward to become the person I need to be to bring about success in my life, so I can say, hey, look, I did it too, just as well as everybody else done it. So once you start thinking like that, and then it makes you want to go out and do those things. So like I said, I got plenty more I want to do, and trust me, I'm gonna get to it. So
Do
my
trust
success
you. I
story,
fully believe you.
yeah, my success story ain't complete yet. It's a good one, but it still ain't finished. I ain't done yet.
I love it. I love it. I'm with you on that. I'm like, I got a lot more to do too. I love
Right.
it. You said something else. When you have those people who have your back, and it pushes you to do more. And I think that's important because you acknowledge them. And sometimes I know that we people in general, young people in general, don't even recognize that they do have what you just described.
Right.
Someone who is there, who has their back, of friends and family who fully support them. And so I think that's an important part of your story is you recognize that people have your back and that people
Right.
support you. And so it's important that, people watching this remember, because, some people don't have a whole lot of people that have their back, but a lot of times we will say we don't, but there are people who actually do. And
exactly.
So, and being accountable, like you said before, but then also recognizing, yeah, I got people who love me and who are there for me. I need to do better for them. And Gigi, that is awesome. That is awesome.
Thank you.
I got chills because it's so exciting. I love how you have just completely turned your life around. So my one last question for you is, what advice would you give to someone who maybe has a story like yours, a journey like yours, or started out like you started out? And when I say started out, meaning with the incarceration, because that's sort of a very pivotal point in your life. What advice would you leave?
To always, do what's best for you. First of all, surrender yourself to God. Give it over to Him. Because, a lot of times, like I said, we want to do it on our own and we can't. And once you learn to surrender yourself and then allow Him to show you the path that He really wants you on, then things will come into play. I'm not telling you not to live life and have fun and try to be all holy Christian and stuff like that. No, what I'm saying is allow Him to work on you to show you what it is that He wants for your life. Not what you want, but what He wants. Because what He wants is the best thing. And whatever it is, go for it. Don't second guess yourself. Don't doubt. If it's meant for you, then it'll happen. If it's not meant for you, it won't happen. But you got to put effort to it and try. And just go out. Learn how to stay with a level head, a level mind. Stay positive at all times. I always try to keep negativity from around you. Anybody that's want to bring you down, you got to push all that out the way. You got to learn how to bite your tongue sometimes. It's a lot of times I still want to be like, hey, look, I'm still Gigi. Don't forget that. But at the same time, Gigi still be like, you know what? That's beneath me now. I ain't got to even resort to that. You know who I am. You know what, okay, but you also know what I'm about now. So don't try to take that and use it to your advantage. And sometimes you have to bite your tongue and let stuff slide because it's not worth it. So once you mature and you push and you push and you just keep pushing to what you trying to do, everything will be cool. So, just go out and get it. That's the best thing I can tell you. Go out and get it. Whatever is meant for you and whatever is for you, go get it because it's yours.
Go get it. We're going to end on that. That was good, Gigi. I appreciate you so much. It's so good to know with you and actually talking to you and not just seeing your journey on Facebook. It has been amazing, and I'm super honored to have you and have you on this platform sharing your story. And I know it is going to change some lives. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was nice seeing you, talking to you again. Like you said, a long time. So, and the thing about it is, you said how you used to see us in school and stuff. So you saw the wow, Gigi. And there's a lot of people. I mean, even my wife, she jokes with me every now and then because we went to school. We the same age, and so like she tell me all the time, I couldn't stand you when we was in school, and I'd be like, right? She like, you was just this and this and this. She like, I said, well, you was quiet. I said, so we was on two different. I wasn't even looking in your direction, no way at all. And she like, so, everybody that really knows, they be like, yeah, you was something else. And I'd be like, okay, leave that alone, because that ain't what it is no more. It'd be funny because, people, it is exciting, and it makes me feel good when I do see people from the past and they do acknowledge the fact that, hey, look, from what you was to now, it's a totally big difference. And for people to say that to me, I really appreciate it because I know what I was and I know what I was doing. And for people to acknowledge it without me trying to make them see it, then that's a big step. So, yeah.
It's major to see the full circle moment. And I'll close with this. It gives people hope.
Right.
Gives lots of people hope. And that's what I want you to know that I see is that it's giving mama's hope. It's giving daddy's hope. It's giving individual youth who may be in tough situations. You're giving a lot of hope.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Gigi. It was an honor and a privilege. And I look
forward to
all the great things that are coming because I know it's coming.
Right. Thank you so much. And it was my pleasure. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad that you invited me on.
Thank you.
All right.